This is Chemistry Unit 7, Stoichiometry, percent yield. In the real world, nothing works perfectly, including chemical reactions. Few reactions ever go to completion. Now consider the following reaction. Ammonia, which is NH3, you can see the 2 NH3 in the equation, when added to copper 1 oxide, that's my 3Cu2O, produces nitrogen N2, copper, my 6Cu, and water, my 3H2O. So let's say in this reaction, 6.4 grams of nitrogen gas was produced by a student. So they went into the lab, attempted this reaction, and the student gets 6.4 grams of nitrogen gas. Now, what if 12.1 grams is what should have been produced? So if this reaction was completed to perfection, no mistakes, everything worked properly, you should be getting 12.1 grams. You can actually just calculate that on paper. If you're starting with so much, right, how much nitrogen gas should you be getting? So there is a correct amount of nitrogen gas that should be produced. So what if 12.1 grams was the proper amount, but that student only got 6.4 grams? How well did the student perform this experiment? Well, this can be determined using what's known as percent yield. So percent yield is the actual value over the theoretical value times 100. So what do actual and theoretical mean? Actual yield is what the student determined, what they actually yielded in the lab. The theoretical yield is what the reaction was supposed to produce. So let's try an example. All right, so example 4a, 6.86 times 10 to the 4th grams of CH3OH should be produced from the reaction of carbon monoxide and hydrogen gases. So if you have carbon monoxide and hydrogen gases, that's how much CH3OH should be produced. Now, when a student attempted this reaction in the lab, the student produced 3.57 times 10 to the 4th grams of CH3OH. What is the student's percent yield? Now remember, percent yield is actual over theoretical times 100. Now you need to see which is which in this description. So you can clearly see in the sentence, when a student, right, attempted this, the student produced. So that student produced value, that 3.57 times 10 to the 4th, that's the actual. That's what the student actually produced when this was done in the lab. Now, that first sentence gave you an amount that said 6.86 times 10 to the 4th grams of CH3OH should be produced. So that's what you should be getting in a perfect world. So that's the theoretical. So now all you need to do is divide these two numbers. So it's the actual value over what you should have gotten, which most of the time is less, although it can be more, which means there's some error in that as well. So if you're not getting exactly 100, you're either too short or too much was produced. And that's just due to many errors that can happen in the lab. But in any case, all you have to do is divide your two numbers. Remember to use the EE key. So this is 3.57 EE to the 4th, and you divide that by 6.86 EE to the 4th, and you get a lot of decimals, but I'm going to keep my significant figures. Each of these has 3 significant figures. So this is 0.520, but remember this is a percent, so you times it by 100. So the student's percent yield is 52.0%. And you can kind of see this. If you were supposed to be getting 6.86 and the student only got 3.57, that's roughly half of what they should have gotten. So this is percent yield.